Alright, so nothing incredibly new programming wise today, but you guys have experience with making objects like rectangles and using methods like draw and pause, especially pause if you guys have been keeping up with the labs before this. And we're going to give our rectangles a bit more flavor this time, and we've just been making bland, boring rectangles that move around, and it's going to be really simple. We're going to be learning a new object called color. And let me write how this is going to look. So you write color, just like we do with rectangle. Hopefully you guys are seeing a pattern with how constructing objects look. Alright, so what are these parameters, right? Int R, int G, int B. Hopefully you guys have heard of RGB before, right? This color profile, or if you've worked with like printers, you've seen those four colors. That's CMYK or something like that. But anyway, RGB is the color profile that your computer screen uses: red, green, and blue lights. And a combination of these colors, cover nearly just all the colors. I think. I don't know. I didn't do my research on RGB, but I'm pretty sure you can make like any color you can think of with red, green, and blue. The CMYK thing I was talking about before is just in color printers. I bet. I've never seen it used like for computer screens before. So RGBs have a range from 0 to 255. Okay, and really the focus of this lesson, I think, is integrating internet resources with your coding. This is extremely important because a lot of the times in your other classes, like especially in English, if you read SparkNotes or something, that's considered cheating, right? It's actually encouraged in like these programming classes to be using the internet. Like, why is it Java working this way? How do I make this more efficient? That's a good thing to do. Good thing to Google things and apply them to your program. Obviously, I wouldn't look up the labs directly. But yeah, it's good to ask the internet, and there's websites like Stack Overflow, like W3 Schools, and like Geeks for Geeks. I can't think of all of them, but there's plenty of websites out there that teach you how Java works and more efficient ways to do things. Anyway, back to the lab. This isn't a very difficult lab in itself, and like I said, I think it's more about using the internet and stuff to apply to your program. All right, so. How do I know which color I want? Let's say I want like, what color? I want it like a dark purple. Well, I'm given red, green, and blue, and if you don't have all these color mixtures memorized in your head, which I most definitely don't, you need to look them up online, right? There's plenty of sites. I use like ColorHex, I think. Yeah, colorhex.com when I'm looking for colors. There's just a bunch of colors here that people have used, or if I want to say like I said, blue, and look for a dark blue, I can hit enter, and the RGB values are here. It says 0, 0, 255. Remember I said RGB ranges from 0 to 255. So red is 0, green is 0, and blue is 255. So the maximum blue with no other red and green. Alright, so that's what just those numbers mean. And I can go down here and see darker shades of blue. Let's say I want this blue, or I want a lighter shade of blue here, right? And these are all just random stuff. If you want to look into it, it's up to you. But yeah, the RGB values are here and up here, and you can look at them. There's so many sites. There's another one. It's like HTML something. HTML, colorcodes.com, that's what it was. Color codes. Right, I've used this one before. This one's a little more like nicer to use. I know ColorHex had this thing on the side in the search bar as well, but here it is. Your RGB values are up here and over here. Heck, I'm pretty sure Paint.net, they have it as well. If I just go here, they'll probably have a color wheel. Like, why wouldn't they? Yeah, I don't know how to use this. Never mind, maybe. How do you change colors? Anyway, you guys get the point. So yeah, so I'm gonna get the dark blue color that I wanted before. I'll just use this site because I'm already here, and set it to a dark blue, like around here. Okay, and the RGB value is 5, 7, and 111. So I'm just gonna move this to my other monitor, and I'm gonna make this color. All right, so color, my color, equals new color, following the same format I have above me. But for these values now, I'm gonna put these RGB values, and of course you can move this around and get different colors if you want. So it's gonna be 6, 8, and 115. It's always in the order of red, green, and blue. So just that's why I wrote them like this. Technically, I could have named this like I could have named this whatever I wanted, like, you know, like Ronald, like Grace, and I can't think of it being Ben, right? Dr. Neat likes using names for his variables, like it's whatever. You can name it whatever you want. I just, you know, it's nice to name them RGB when they are RGB in that order all the time. So let's put the red value, which was 6, then 8, then 115. Okay. And we're gonna learn two new methods today. And the way we're gonna do, oh, oops, before I go on with that, let's actually make a rectangle so I can color it with. Just make a rectangle. My rect equals new rectangle. And inside I'll have, let's just make it 100, 100, 100, 100. Just make it a nice square. All right. And so I have to apply this color to my rectangle, right? So how do I set that color to the rectangle? It's literally set color. And there's something fancy about this one that you guys haven't encountered yet. At least I don't think you have. And the thing that you guys might have run into here is the parameter is an object. So far all of our parameters were made up of primitive data types. And if you guys don't remember what primitive data types are, they're your integers, they're your strings and your doubles, right? And your booleans. And so far when we've said like dot translate, there were 2 integers, right? Or when we say canvas.rand, and inside canvas.rand we gave it a range, an int range, right? But this time set color calls for an object, okay? And it's asking for a color object. So inside whoever made this set color method, it would say it's asking for a color in here, like color like C. And it's taking in a color and using that color to like apply it onto the rectangle. So just be aware of that. You are allowed to pass any type of parameter, any data type. All right. So we pass an object. Actually, I can just leave that there. And now we have to print it out to the screen. We can't just leave it here like this, right? You guys have drawn the rectangle to the console before. But this time, instead of .draw, we're going to do myrect.fill. And we're just doing this because, you know, we want to fill the rectangle with this color. Oh yeah, that's it. So if I save and run, we should get a blue rectangle, or dark bluish, right? Boom, there's a dark blue rectangle. And let's say, honestly, I could just play with the colors if I want. I don't know anything, so let's make this 80. Let's make this like 200. Save. I just got a random color. I don't even know what this is. Right, so I compile and run, and I get like this pinkish color. It's actually a nice color of pink. And if I change this to whatever I had here, what was it? 280, 115. 280 and 115, you're gonna see that these colors are identical because, you know, they should be identical. I'm setting this, you know, this color inside the new color object. Right, so this isn't anything crazy. It's just you're using the internet and your code at the same time. Right, so what if I wanted like what happens here when let's say I wanted to make an outline, right, around the rectangle, because I just had a solid filled rectangle earlier, like a pink one. So what do you guys think would happen if I do .draw? You guys think I would get a border? Because that's technically what draw did, right? Let's see. You know, if I run, what actually happens is you just get a pink border. I don't know if you guys can tell. The borders are actually pretty thin, but it's definitely pink. And what set color does is it's setting your rectangle to be pink. It's giving it this color, let's say like attribute, right? And what .draw does is it makes an outline of this rectangle, while .fill fills in the rectangle, right? But the reason why we can't make an outline of a rectangle like that is because this is one rectangle. I made one my rectangle, and I'm trying to fill and draw it at the same time. So what happens is it fills the rectangle and displays it on the screen, but immediately afterward, it's being overwritten because it's the same MyRect. It's the same object that I'm manipulating. So if I want a new object as like, let's say a border, I can make a new rectangle, right? Because I can't use the same rectangle twice. Hopefully you guys are understanding what I'm saying here, right? So if I say MyRect2, I put it in the same spot, but I'll just make it black because the default is black. I don't have to give it, actually maybe I should give it a color because why not? So I'll make a second color, MyColor2. Inside I'll make this like 10. Let's make this, let's make this like 15 and like 88. Okay, save, and that's MyRect2.draw. All right, so all I'm doing here is I'm making 2 rectangles in 2 colors, and oops, I never actually set the color. So MyRect.setColor, and I'm passing in MyColor2. Alright, so now I have 2 rectangles and I can get this border if I want to. And what's happening here is I'm making 2 rectangles, MyRect and MyRect2, both in the same place and same size, in 2 different colors. One for the outlined rectangle and one for the filled rectangle. And so now I can set color for the first one and set color for the second one. And I didn't name this properly. Full of errors today. And I'm gonna fill the first one and draw the second one. Okay, and so let's see what I get. Now if I look at it, I don't think you guys can tell actually, but there is a definite border around this rectangle. Yeah. It looks kind of brownish. I'm not sure exactly what color that is. But there is a background. So when you guys are messing with these rectangles and stuff, and you want to have borders, and you can mess around, right? Because technically, this isn't a rectangle with a border. This is 2 rectangles on top of each other. One is just filled, and one is not filled. One just has an outline. So mess around with the stuff you have here, and let's take a look at the lab. All right, so the lab says, make one large rectangle object, make a random color, make the rectangle the random color. Be sure to use the fill method. Right, so all he wants to do is make a rectangle, and you have to have a random number for your colors, your RGB values, and think about how you would integrate random to get a purely random color for red, green, and blue, right? Then you want to set the rectangle to that color and then use fill. Because if you use draw, you're going to get an outline, and you honestly can't even tell what color the outline is most of the time. So, yeah, good luck, guys.